copy. The reason why it's important that you steal and copy is because you will still be your authentic self because there is only one you. But if you steal and copy a blueprint or a proof of concept or excellence, how someone says something, how someone does something, how someone treats people, how someone grows their business, how someone grows their audience, then you are actually taking a proof of concept that will work in its own magic with your name behind it, because there's no one else that has your name, there's no one else that has your brand, there's no one else that looks like you, and therefore it will come off as authentic. Now, I'm not saying to just copy and not have a sense of genuineness. What I am saying is don't try to reinvent the wheel.
Who's this? Oh, you're an entrepreneur? Oh, you're a real estate investor. Oh, you're trying to learn from those who did it. Well, come into the lab then. Put your white coat on, gloves on, notepad, and let's build, y'all.
Experiment Nation, your host Ruben here in the lab with Ruben Kanya. And in this episode, I want to give you advice that I received from my mentors, my close mentors that I watch closely what my mentors do. I like to be in close proximity of what they do because I believe that you should be in proximity into the areas that you want success in. You should be in proximity to the environment that you're looking to be a part of, whether that's being in again, proximity might be even going on a trip to a place where you want to live, doing a walking through an open house of a home that you want to buy. But I say all that because whether you're listening to this, watching this during Q4 or beginning of Q1 2025, you're probably in a phase where the year is winding down, you're reflecting on your goals, reflecting on where you got, and or you're forecasting and you're looking ahead of where you want to go. Um, and regardless of where you're at, whether you're in Q4 or Q1, or regardless of the time, this is universal. This is evergreen. You can listen to this at any point in time. This will not age. Um, I want to encourage you to become a thief. Now, what do I mean by that? Ruben, what do you mean become a thief? Well, a thief of excellence, that is, right? Um, I think we're in a time now that we are overstimulated with a lot of information, which is, um, I think it's often looked at as a negative, but I think on the positive, there's a very big positive to that, is because I think in this day and age, you have more exposure to experiments, as I like to call them, that you can then take and implement in your lab. And with that said, is before you may not be or may not have been privy to the information, and we don't have that problem today. Now there's a lot of information, but with that information comes a time where you need to make a decision of who you're going to steal from. Now, when I say steal from, I say that as a metaphor. I don't mean actually stealing and becoming a thief, but I do mean, there's a good quote, but good artists copy, great artists steal. And what you want to do is steal and borrow um, the success principles from the people or the person. And I would ideally, it's actually more important that you find the right person that you would trade places with, that you would, it's really important that you find the person that's doing the thing that you want to do, that's, driving the car that you want to drive, that's living in a home that you want to live in, that is getting the kind of contracts you're looking to get contracts. It's important that you find that person, all right? Because when you find that person, you then don't have to reinvent the wheel by any means. And here's where I'm going to give you a permission to steal and copy. The reason why it's important that you steal and copy is because you will still be your authentic self because there is only one you. But if you steal and copy a blueprint or a proof of concept or excellence, how someone says something, how someone does something, how someone treats people, how someone grows their business, how someone grows their audience, then you are actually um taking a proof of concept that will work in its own magic with your name behind it, because there's no one else that has your name, there's no one else that has your brand, there's no one else that looks like you, right? And therefore it will come off as authentic. Now, I'm not saying to just copy and not have a sense of you know, genuineness. What I am saying is don't try to reinvent the wheel. That's what I'm saying, right? Because when we'll say, well, it's not genuine if you're doing something that someone else is doing and be your authentic self. Yeah, that's fine, but do not try to make your authentic recipe. Right? There is recipes work for a reason, and that's why you use the recipe to apply it yourself. You copy the recipe, you steal the recipe, you use the exact same recipe to get the same outcome, because there's certain amounts of proofs of concepts with respect to you know, the principles and the laws and how things work in the chemistry, that there, you must, in order to get a certain result, you must do it in a certain way. And the person that has figured it out, has the blueprint and has the recipe, be in proximity to them. And don't also be so quick to think that by simply watching a video or simply by watching them do a thing a certain way, watching someone do something a certain way and doing it yourself and then trying to apply it, it may not look the same. And therefore, that's why you get in proximity to them, because they might help you with the mechanics. And if, especially in this day and age where, again, the information age, info products, info marketing is big, and it's actually a great opportunity for you to go dive deeper and actually do the thing that they say that they did that works. Now, definitely vet people, right? Not everyone has, you know, especially when I think of the paradox of practice, I always want to make sure that the person who I'm looking to get information from is still applying the same thing that they're doing today. They're not, they haven't stopped, and it's not outdated information, and they're just now simply an author or simply a teacher, but not actually applying it because maybe that's how now they make their money. So you really want to actually be, you know, sure that, you know, that they're still doing the thing that they're teaching you about. But if you find the right mentor, you'll know. If you find the right coach, if you find the right person you're trying to trade places with, it will be based on what they're actually doing today, not based on the thing that they're selling, but based on the thing that they're doing. Now, it could be one and the same, but I say all that to say this: yes, there might be some people that, you know, might not have a really good course, or yes, there might be someone that is actually capitalizing on old information, etc. But that's why you have to do your due diligence and then vet people and say, you know what, I like this person, they're honest, I like their charisma, I like what they've been able to offer to other people, I like the results that they've received, I like the results that they helped other people receive. Therefore, now I'm going to steal their blueprint and implement it in my world. If someone's investing in this specific side of the area, go invest in that same specific side. If someone's investing using a specific strategy, use that exact same strategy. And so the good news is, with all this information and all this exposure of individuals that we can meet, whether it's on social media, whether it's in person at a conference, whether it's on TV, it gives you the exposure to say, you know what, I like what they've built for themselves and I like who they are. And therefore, I'm going to get in proximity so I can get the blueprint and hear it from the horse's mouth. Don't think that you have all the information of how the sausage is made just because of how it looks on the surface level. This is where I think there's one thing about going on YouTube University and learning a bunch of stuff, which you can, a lot of people who are genuine and really have great content, you can actually learn a ton without even, you know, investing and purchasing into their 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 actual courses or programs. However, there is still some magic around um, joining a community, which is usually what you get, that then will hold you accountable and will help you finish the job and finish the recipe and finish your experiment, and then help you when you're going through, you know, a challenge, right? I think that's where it becomes really important of why you would join a mastermind, why you should actually consider being part of a community, because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when you get stuck, who's there and who's able to actually help you and assist you along the way. And that's why you would join mastermind. That's why you have a coach to help you along the way, because you might think something is an obstacle, but to them it's just part of the process, but you just don't know because you don't know what you don't know. Experiment Nation, you've heard me talk about how multiple investors across the nation are landing these lucrative midterm rental insurance contracts by making these small tweaks on the branding and marketing side. Especially if you're an existing short-term rental operator, there is a quick an easy shift that you can make with the right guide in place. And because we've launched a 2-day boot camp that not everyone could attend in real time, I've put together a recording where you can get all the materials and all the guides to focus on rebranding either your short-term rental business or your current midterm rental business, so that you can actually have the insurance companies reach out to you. And then day two is, if you want to actually play offense, how you can reach out to them by listing on the right platforms, etc. If you're looking to get this MTR bootcamp so that you can start optimizing and you can start receiving these lucrative contracts that again provide less headaches, less turnovers, unlike the Airbnb space, you can start receiving inquiries today by having the right guide in place. So please go to experimentrealestate.com/MTR bootcamp or click the link in the bio to make sure you get your hands on the midterm rental insurance bootcamp to fast track your way into landing these lucrative insurance contracts the exact same ways multiple investors have taken advantage of this unknown and untapped niche within the midterm rental umbrella. So I think it's really important to think about what one of my mentors says is borrowing. Again, three things. One, you to borrow their belief system, right? So if you think something's a challenge, you run it to them. Is it a challenge really? No, it's really not a challenge. It's just part of the process. It's just an obstacle that you're going to overcome, and here's how you're going to overcome it. So one, borrow their belief system. One is borrow their mental syntax. How do they think about things, right? When you look at a problem, when they look at a problem, when how do they see it versus how do you see it? Because you see things based on the information that you have, right? And your experiences, they see things based on information that they have. And if it's the right mentor, if it's the right coach, they have different kind of information based on the experiences that they've had and based on the actual implementation and execution. They can give you now better guidance to course correct you, right? So it's really important that you focus on having a person who's already been around the corner that you're trying to go down, because they might be able to say, hey, watch out for this, watch out for that around the corner. By the way, the third step is slippery. If you step on it, you'll slip. You may not see it, but here's what's going to happen. And by the way, when you get to the bottom, what may look like a sturdy ledge is not very sturdy, or handrail. So make sure that you don't apply all the weight on it, because it will break down. It's happened for me, right? Like things like that. That's who you want, because what may seem like, oh, this seems easy, I just got to go down this step. You don't know that that third step is slippery, because there's black ice. And if you've been anywhere on the West Coast, you can't really tell if there's ice or not, right? So if there's black ice, you might slip. But for you, if you're just not in proximity to that mentor, you might think, oh, it's easy, I'll just go down the steps, right? Or it's easy, I'll just hold on to the railing, right? But that railing is loose, right? Or that railing has a false, is falsely adjusted, and therefore you might put your weight on it, and then you might collapse. So I think there's a lot of great information, but if you want to get in proximity, you want to avoid, you want to expedite the time, you want to avoid the mistakes, you want to avoid the cost. Remember, cost is, time is not money, time is your life. And so if it's costing you money, right, it's so that you can get your time back faster, because your time is your life, right? So think about that as well, right? When people say the cost of doing business, more importantly, I focus, what is the cost of my time? What is the cost of it taking 3 times, 5 times, 10 times less time than me trying to do it by myself on my own dollar, on my own time? Think about that, the return on investment on that. I wanted to share that because I think it's important we think about, you know, there's a lot of people who've had a lot of great success, and who are, I think another mentor of mine used to say, there isn't a problem that you have that someone hasn't had, right? Or even another quote is, someone won with less than you had, right? And someone was in a worse situation than you were in, and they won, right? And so if you think about that, every hurdle, every obstacle, question that you have, you're stressed because you're not asking the right question. You're overwhelmed because you're not asking the right question. You don't have someone to answer the right answer. So if you think about that, that's very empowering, because it means that if you're stuck somewhere, whether it's financially, whether it's career, whether it's anything that you can think of, there's an answer out there that someone has, that someone went, that someone overcame. There's actually someone who would trade places to be in your position with what you have because you actually have it really nice and you don't really realize it, right? So that to me is so refreshing. If you really put things into perspective and you really start thinking about that, the power that there is with the info marketing age, where you can just type in who is the leader in the space, who is the person who's doing that, who can help me. There's you can model, you can get away with modeling, not even getting away. It's not getting away. It's you should be using a proof of concept, right? There's no reason why you should try to fly a plane by yourself without having, learning from a pilot that's flown a plane before, right? There's no reason you should jump out of a plane without a guide and instructor who knows how to work a parachute. There's no reason we should try to build a home without hiring the right contractors or at least having some kind of a coach to help you build the right foundation and walls, etc. Unless you want the home to collapse on you. And there's a lot of people sometimes who are building homes on an unproperly built foundation. The foundation is not sound enough that it looks like from the optics on the outside that you're building something special, but it just takes just a gust of wind and everything will collapse, right? And we don't want that. And therefore, um, it's in your best interest to become a thief of excellence, a thief where you are able to go to someone who you really admire and really respect. Now, the reason why it's important that you respect this person is because if you do not respect the person who is your guide, you will not do what they tell you to do and you will not trust them. And if you do not trust them, you will not do what they tell you. It's like having a teacher who tells you to do something and then you do the other. That comes from lack of trust. But if it's someone who you truly trust and they tell you, do this that way. And I've spoken to many coaches, and it's the most frustrating thing when you tell a student to do something and then they do it their own way. And if your own way worked, your own way would have worked already. And so this is such a good reminder of not trying to reinvent the wheel, that there are guides out there are great coaches, but most importantly, it's important for you to do your due diligence, who you're going to pick, and most importantly, if they offer an opportunity for you to learn alongside them, go in proximity, go in person, meet with them, borrow their belief system, borrow their mental syntax and their physiology, right? Recently put a post on my Instagram by Dean Forbes, which is an amazing entrepreneur who's done some amazing things. And he says that he is a thief, right? And a thief, all he's done, he's looked at the way people said things that he admired, they respected. He said, I'm going to start saying things this way now. I'm going to start pitching this way now. When people pitch this way, it doesn't work. When people pitch this way, it works. Therefore, now this is how I pitch, right? Some people, right? You want to start gathering this information. And I also think it's important to not have too many coaches because all things work, but it's like if you try to have it's almost like combining so many recipes at once, you're not going to get the same outcome. It's not that all recipes individually are not good, they are good, but if you're trying to combine all of them together, you're not going to get the thing because it's going to be diluted. And baking, just like anything else, just like this is why I love the name The Lab, is chemistry. In chemistry, things need to go in a certain order when you're baking. If you've ever baked something, it will actually make a difference if you put the flour first versus the eggs, or if you pour the oil after than before. There's a certain order of how the chemicals need to come together first. And sometimes you look at the surface level and you just get pieces of information. You're doing things out of order. And if you're doing things out of order and you're getting things from a different coach, and that coach is telling you one thing, the other's telling you one thing, and then you're trying to do all of them together at once, you're not going to get the same outcome because it will not be the same chemistry, it will not be the same recipe, and therefore you will not have the same outcome. You will delay your outcome, and your time is not money. Your time is your life. So with that said, depending on where you are when you're listening to this, I think anybody can get value from this at any time, whether it's Q4, Q1, Q3, any time of the year. This is such a good reminder where we're in an age where there's so much information out there. There are so many guides. Info marketing is only growing. Coaches are growing, right? People are actually making it easy for you to be able to teach something to someone from across the globe, right? Never before was this available to us. And therefore, you can actually learn from the best in the world from the comfort of your living room, for comfort of your home, if you have internet. And we are grateful because not everybody has that. So if you do have that, you already have a unique advantage. And there's someone who doesn't have that, who's going to go outside of their way. They're going to go to the library. They're going to borrow someone's internet. They're going to go in public and download this information from someone. They're going to have less than what you have, and they're still going to win because they're going to apply the right information, the right recipe. They're not going to try to reinvent the wheel. They're going to take it from someone who's done it because it's been done time and time and time again, and they're going to win with that recipe, right? Now, you can have that winner be you, or you can have the person next door, or the person across overseas, but someone's going to take this information and they're going to win with it, regardless of what they have. They might have less than you, they might have more than you, but it's going to happen because they're going to take action, they're going to make a decision, they're going to follow the recipe, and they're going to run the play. And so, with that said, it's important for you to do the same, and you to pick your mentor, you to pick the person that is the right fit for you, that you resonate, that you respect, that you resonate with, so that you will respect them, that you'll actually get energy, right? Not give energy. You don't want to feel like someone is draining energy out of you that is not the right fit. You want someone that gives you the energy, that gives you a belief system that you may not have, that gives you the power, that sees more in you than you see in yourself. That is the kind of person, that is the kind of community, that is the kind of mastermind you want to be a part of. And that is the environment I encourage you to be a part of, so that you can continue to be a great thief of excellence only in your lab. So, with that said, experimentation, you guys know I love the experiments of Mr. Mental Insurance Experiments. If you're looking to connect and have a guide, I can always be your guide. But I trust that this episode will find you with, regardless of where you are in your life, regardless of the experiment you're trying to run, make sure that you're always staying very in tune and in the same frequency of the people you're trying to be in proximity to and have the same result that they have. And with that said, I give you and encourage you to become the best thief that you can be in your lab. All positive energy, thieves of excellence. With that said, experimentation, we are out. Go ahead and implement and steal. Remember, great artists copy, great artists steal. And we're here to steal excellence and implement it to have an exponential impact into the community, so that we can serve as many people as we can and be profitable while doing so. Let's build. Experimentation. I believe there are two critical components that will help you achieve your goals very quickly and succeed. Number one, it's information like this that you received on a show, in an episode, and content that you can find on my YouTube channel or anybody's channel. And then there's a community. And the way we've been able to expedite our process, the way people in our community, people that we consult, mastermind members, whoever, they get the information on an episode like this, but then they also have the support, whether it's me guiding them or being guided through a community. There is an opportunity for you listening to be able to expedite your process, or even expedite your results that you're seeking by being part of the community. If that is what you're interested in, we at Experiment Nation happen to have a community devoted to helping maximize your occupancy and your profitability altogether, regardless of which market that you are in. And for that reason, you have an opportunity where you can go to experimentrealestate.com/submit if you're looking to work in an environment that can help you prosper faster. Call out any areas that you might not be familiar in, especially the blind spots. That's where a guide comes in hand, and I would be a pleasure and honor to be your guide. But in order to make sure you're a good fit, make sure you go to experimentrealestate.com/submit so that my team can go ahead and take it and see if you're a good fit to join the mastermind and the multiple programs that we have. In addition to that, I'm also now a YouTube partner, which means that I want to give you more access to information, more access to Q&As, more access to the questions that actually come out of our mastermind that help people expedite the process. We've seen people get anywhere from $4,000 to $5,000 to $6,000 to even $7,000 a month net on just one door by applying the strategies that we use by working with corporations and furnished accommodation in a very strategic way. So if you're interested, make sure you also subscribe, because I'm going to have different tiers that's on YouTube now that we've become YouTube partner, to continue to be the bridge to your success
in your lab, and your lab means your life, your goals, or wherever you're trying to head. So make sure you also hit the subscribe button on my YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/real estate experiment. We'll be there. You can also look us up at Midterm Rental Insurance Experiment. We will be there. Make sure you hit the subscribe, because that's when you'll know the tiers that are available to you that make sense for you, your marketplace, for your results. Remember, you're only one experiment away. Let's build.